All right, welcome to another awesome episode of RV Camping with Wade's RV. And this is another special edition talking about the partnership with Wade's RV and the Folds of Honor. Willie D, how's it going today?
It's going pretty good. It's another great day in Joplin. It's a little bit busy with our time schedule that we have across the board. We started here at 11. We're going to end about 5, 6 o'clock on the evening news. So it's been one thing after another. But right now we are here.
Is it going to be a good thing that we're on the news or a bad thing?
Well, they're not going to be having a wanted poster this week.
Good.
So this week, I think we're okay on that one. Don't think we're going to have anyone wanting to look for us unless they're looking for a great deal on RVs, of course.
There you go.
So today we're actually out here with one of our Folds of Honor recipients, Colton. And so we wanted to talk to him a little bit about his experience with the Folds of Honor and the difference it's made in his life and just really what we're doing. We've been touching on it a little bit. We talked to Jen. We talked to a couple of our other recipients about what it's done for them and what Folds of Honor really does, which if you don't know, I'll go ahead and lay it out for the people, is Folds of Honor actually helps support the families of veterans by sending them to school, and that is disabled veterans and now first responders by sending them to school. And Colton, he's been going to school for quite a while now, right? How many years have you been going to school?
Do you count high school or
No, I'm talking higher education. Higher education. We're talking college.
I got my bachelor's degree, so
Okay.
4 years there, and I have finished 1 year of my master's degree in occupational therapy. So I've still got a lot more room to go, another year and a half.
Another year and a half. No big deal being only 20 years old. That's what got me. I mean, for one, I was a C's get degrees kind of guy,
Yeah,
but the fact that
same
he is
here.
excelling and he's done it so young, I mean, the future has just got to be bright for this young man.
I mean, I feel like a slacker because I loved third grade so much, I did it twice.
I think he may have been able to skip third grade in this, in this
He
instance.
skipped third grade. I went to third grade twice, so I'm just going to go hide in the corner.
I actually did skip third grade.
So, okay, here.
I did fourth grade twice, though.
I did third grade twice for you, bud. I got you.
It's covered on all fronts. So, Colton, tell me a little bit about, so we were visiting earlier, where you're going to school. Now, I'm from Oklahoma, so, you know, OU, OSU runs thick in our blood. But where are you going to school here in Missouri? We're here at Joplin at our new location for Wade's RV. But where are you going to school out here?
So I go to school in Springfield, Missouri. It's a college town, third biggest city. And I go to Cox College. I graduated from Drury University with my 4-year degree in biology, and now I'm going for occupational therapy there. It's been a ride. It's been wonderful, and I'm kind of excited to go back, actually, once the summer is over.
When does school start back up again for you?
I think it's the 14th of August.
Oh, man, that's way too soon. I haven't thought about that in a minute, and I'm glad to. So you're going for occupational therapy. So, you know, I'm an RV salesman. I think that's pretty elementary what you do. You got an RV? I'll sell it to you. So what does that exactly entail, occupational therapy?
Well, occupational therapy, it's one of those things that people don't actually know what it is. And people are like, oh, you work with people that have injuries on jobs. And it's like, not fully. Occupation is something we do in our everyday life. Occupation is what makes humans human, whether it's brushing your teeth or using the bathroom. All of that is occupational. And occupational therapists use these activities to encourage and to restore or adapt any occupation to these clients to be able to engage in the things that they need to do and want to do on a daily life.
Very, very cool. So whenever you were first getting in, how did you hear about the Folds of Honor?
So I heard it from my dad. My dad is like, hey, here's this great opportunity for just a organization that wants to support people like you and families like us. And he told me to check it out. So we checked it out together and put in the application. And I'm thankful that we get to have this kind of support.
Yeah, it was super. You were telling me about a little bit about that. So your dad is standing behind the camera right now. Not everyone can see him, but tell us a little bit about your dad and his service. And he did some pretty cool stuff. He was jumping out of airplanes all the time.
What?
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say maybe I'm telling too much here, but did he tell your mom he was jumping out of airplanes?
I feel like we need to have a disclaimer with that.
I guess I should have asked beforehand. But tell us a little bit about his service and a little bit about his story.
Yeah, absolutely. So he served in the Army for 3 years, and he left the Army on a medical discharge because of a skydiving injury.
Okay, yeah, see, okay.
So not the most luxurious. But he served in the Army as an engineer, working on missile systems as an electronic engineer. And after that, he worked private contract for the military after his injury. So he's been involved afterwards, and it's just a huge part of his life and of our life. And we get all these amazing stories from all the antics that he got up to in the Army as well, which just brings a lot of life to us and our relationship as well.
And so we were visiting a little bit earlier about, I asked, where are you from? And that's, we're kind of homebodies, I would say. And so that's a pretty simple answer whenever you're talking to us, but it's a little more complicated when you're talking to yourself. You're originally from Hawaii, is that right? And then you came over here to, what was the term, mainland? Is that what you guys used?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Commonly accepted.
Okay,
yeah.
is that the term, the mainland? Yeah. Coming over here to us, I guess you guys would be the islanders. We're the mainlanders. So, so tell us, how long were you in Hawaii? Did you enjoy it? Why did you come over here? It was a little bit for school, wasn't it?
It was for a handful of reasons. I have 3 older brothers, and we were all born in Hawaii. And my dad lived there for 14 years. So whenever I had turned 3, I was about to turn 4, and we were wanting this, as a family, we were wanting this change of scenery from island life. We were kind of trapped, really, all in one spot, thousands of miles away from anything else. And we wanted property. We wanted to be able to grow our family instead of being constricted to a house and a tiny yard. And the mainland had that to offer. So we moved to Alabama.
And first time in the mainland, I learned out right before we clicked record, they bought Willie D's dream coach.
Yeah, we raised...
Which was?
The Monaco.
No, it was in Alabama. So that came beforehand. We toured around the United States before deciding where to settle. And
Okay, so that was before you actually moved.
It was.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
We moved, but we were not settled down yet.
Okay.
So that's where the RV came in. And
So living that nomadic lifestyle.
and then
Oh.
we were alpaca ranchers.
Yes.
So what was your
You got to
favorite...
take us on that journey.
Yeah. Tell me, what was your favorite thing when you're traveling around the like when you're traveling in the RV? Was there something about the RV that you liked? I always like watching TV and stuff in the RV, but that you couldn't experience when you're in a normal, let's say you're going in your Ford Explorer. You're not going to be able to experience the same sort of deals. Tell me about what you enjoyed about traveling around the U.S. in an RV.
Well, I was very young, so I don't remember much of it. But I know that just traveling around gives a certain special kind of family bonding time that you don't get when you're all facing forward, buckled up in your seats. But it's just a big part of how we settled where we did. We were traveling through Alabama, and we were like, you know what? This place is beautiful. And I think that's something that you get whenever you have a home that moves. You get to see everywhere wheels can take you.
So our slogan is turning miles into memories, and it sounds like you guys you live that for quite some time. Do you have a favorite memory from traveling in your motorhome as a family?
I was really too young to have a favorite memory. That'd be a bigger question for my parents, I'd imagine.
Okay.
So I do know you were pretty young when you RV'd, but you have done a lot of camping in your time. Is that right? Do you know how many camping trips you've been on?
Oh, goodness.
Hey, would I dare to say hundreds?
That's probably pretty accurate.
Okay.
I actually, through the entirety of June and end of May, I was working at a summer camp as well for people with disabilities.
Okay, very, very cool. And so we were talking about the camp. You were an Eagle Scout, is that right? Or I was going to say
the
active.
youngest.
Yeah, the youngest Eagle Scout in all of the Boy Scouts of America.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that camping, because like I said, we're camping nerds, man. We like to hear those camping stories.
I'd love to. So a big part about my story in the Boy Scouts was summer camp. Summer camp was like this thing that you look forward to all year, to be able to do all the fun stuff that you don't get to normally do every day, and do it for a whole week. Get merit badges and just spend time with the troop and with friends. But aside from that, like every single month, our troop had something planned. And usually it was a camp out or fishing or some high adventure sort of a thing. And, it starts in a tent. And I've had plenty of tent camping, some underneath the stars, some on the sides of riverbanks, and it's formed me to the nature lover that I am.
So I saw you kind of looking around at some of these beautiful RVs that we have in here. Do you think I would have to twist your arm to take one of these home?
Well,
Free of charge, of course, you know. If everything was on a perfect scale, you think you'd still be camping in a tent, or do you think you would take one of these? It's different styles. You know, you're not underneath the stars necessarily. You got a roof under you or over you, but you also have an AC over you as well. So
yeah.
after looking at these, do you think you might take an RV camping trip soon?
well, there are far fewer mosquitoes in an RV.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Not to mention, it's been in the triple digits lately, and I think it's gonna be here for quite some time.
Yes,
so.
yes.
Like this weather is not camping weather to me. For some people, they can bear it, but being in a tent when it is over 75 degrees in any degree of sun is awful.
I'm glad you said that, because I fully stand on this. I feel like a lot of people like camping season is summertime. I'm like, no, it is not. Fall camping is by far the best.
Absolutely.
Because you can actually sit by the campfire. You can enjoy the campfire. So you're sitting there cooking your s'mores. You know, you're not sweating to death. It's like you actually kind of need some of that heat because it's not too cold, but it's not hot. You know, it's just like the temperature's like perfect in the evening. Would you agree with that? Or?
Oh, yeah. At some point in my life, I want to get an RV so that I can make camping an extended event instead of just being a weekend where we are roughing it. It gets to be something that we live a sort of a lifestyle of adventure. And that happens much easier whenever you have something like an RV where you can choose luxury or you can choose to rough it. And if it starts downpouring rain and your tent completely explodes, you have a backup.
Yeah.
Or just to enjoy the comforts of a mattress. And whenever you've got a family, that's incredibly important.
And I think with an RV, it actually makes camping, easier from setting up. You're not setting up a tent and stuff, but actually making the activity of going camping, you have to pack and unpack. So whenever you have your RV with you, it makes it a lot easier. So you get off work on a Friday, you already got your vehicle, you just pull up to the driveway, hook on, and maybe fill up with water, and then you go to your campsite. Pack up on Saturday afternoon, come home Sunday, wash your clothes, put them back in there, and you're ready to go for the next weekend versus camping where you're solely just going out on that weekend. You're pulling the tent, you're pulling the pans, you're pulling all of this different equipment out. It's going to take so much work out of that equation.
The setup and breakdown of tent camping is it feels like a full-time job compared to RV camping for sure.
And so it allows people to go out there on the road and actually enjoy their hobby and their lifestyle because, if you're not working, you're enjoying what you like to do. And so camping, a lot of times people clock out and they're going right to that campsite. And so I love that myself. And it makes your life so much easier. I've gotten spoiled staying in RVs now. I did go camping with Isaac not too long ago, and I didn't even get a tent. They kicked me outside with the bears.
I remember that.
It's hard for me to stay in a tent nowadays because I've gotten so accustomed to all these modern amenities. It really is like having your home on wheels. And here at Wade's RV, this is my home, so I'm surrounded by them. And it's a really, really awesome process.
And speaking of RVs, we're excited to partner up with the Folds of Honor and have you here as the local recipient to the Joplin store. We wanted to meet you, get to know your story because it's our passion to kind of give back. And everything we sell from literally today to the end of August, proceeds from each sale is going to go back to the Folds of Honor. And we feel like the Folds of Honor is at a great organization that helps through scholarships with families like yours. And could you kind of expand on, if somebody's watching right now and they're like, hey, I need to apply, or maybe they're a little scared, because they don't feel like either they're worthy enough or they don't want to get they don't want to go through the process and not get accepted. Do you have any advice or maybe could you share that part of your process?
The process is, it's like writing just a few little fragmented stories of your life and of what that means in the application process. Mm-hmm. But in order to get started, it's a Google search away.
Yeah.
It's that close. And it doesn't take that long either. It's just a matter of doing it. And also, I loved it because I got to kind of reminisce on these memories that I've had between me and my dad, who is a DAV, as well as just getting to hear his stories again and some elaborations on stories that I've actually never heard before.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a walk down memory lane. It was kind of sweet.
So I guess were you reading these questions and like almost like going to your dad to gather up the information so you could put it into the interview? Is that what you're saying?
It depended upon the question.
Okay, yeah.
But on some of them, yeah, we would just do it together, and
Okay.
he would share with me the story or the memory or whatever his take on his experience, because some of it talks about his experience in the military, and just to take that and put it into word form.
I like how they incorporated that, so it kind of almost creates more of a bond between you and your dad and that experience, and
I think so.
allows you to also understand from his perspective. That's cool. And then he might, in the process, listen to you and hear your perspective growing up in the environment. And so I think that's awesome. I mean, I think that's something that everybody should know about, and that's why we have you here today, of course. Would you happen to have advice for anybody that's or like, I guess when somebody's kind of what would you say, the program, I guess I'm kind of lost. I don't want to re-ask the same question.
There was a couple recipients that we've talked to, and it wasn't necessarily the step of applying. They weren't worried about that, filling out the stories, but they just didn't feel like they deserved it, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, because their parent wasn't necessarily fully disabled, or one of their parents didn't pass away. And so I talked to a recipient, and he almost felt bad for receiving it.
Yeah.
You know, and his mom was like, this is why this foundation was started, is to help people like you. Would you have anything to say to someone who's kind of been thinking about applying for the scholarship and just hasn't done it yet?
Yeah, absolutely. I would just say that you are worthy. Simply put, your family has endured something, whether you were even alive in the time, that impacts you, that affects you. And you are not alone in feeling like you're not worth receiving something like help. But you know what? This stuff matters. And your family has been through a lot, because being a first responder, being a DAV, dramatically changes your life. And my dad, I mean, he's there standing with me. We did these hiking trips together and camping trips together, and I kind of felt likewise. Like, you know what? It's almost like the disability that he has. I don't see it as much of anything. It's always been there. And I just want to say that just because you've lived with something your entire life doesn't mean it's not valid of recognition. And Folds of Honor is an organization that is here to support people. It's not about how much, it's just about if. And if you have your if, then this is who Folds of Honor is here to support. And I'm thankful that I have this opportunity, and I know that it extends not just to me, but to anyone who's willing to fill it out.
And it's something that you shouldn't be embarrassed about either.
no.
I mean, I find some people, they're like embarrassed to receive help. And so
I think it was kind of like what Colton was saying.
Yeah.
I grew up, my mom always had cancer growing up, and so that was just a normal day-to-day, that was just life,
Exactly.
like my mom didn't have one leg. That is what it is. Like, and so I didn't really ever think anything of it, but then you talk to someone from the outside in, and you see a different perspective, and I think you hit the nail right on the head with that.
And I like how Folds of Honor, it's almost like an extended family, right? It's not like they step in and they just kind of help you, and it's almost, they become like an extended family. So,
And they're not just here today. From what I've heard, they are here for, they check up on you. They don't just say, hey, here's a scholarship. They make sure that you're taken care of along the road that you're on. Is that true?
I'm a relatively new recipient for Folds of Honor. So I don't have a lot of experience with it, but it does feel very personable whenever I do have the opportunity to talk with Folds of Honor representative.
And the most important thing is it takes a burden off of you while you're going to school, and you can focus on your studies more, for one. And going back into the community, we talked about you're going to be an occupational therapist. I'm an RV salesman. I can't do that job. So by supporting the Folds of Honor, supporting Colton, you're supporting real critical jobs that are out there. And I think that's been the case with every recipient I've talked to, is they have real critical jobs, you know. And I think that's kind of cool, is because it's really helping our society just be a better society and a better community all the way together. So did you have anything else you wanted to add to that, Little Wade?
No, I just like the fact that we were able to meet local recipients with this organization. It's not like any other organizations where you might, you hope that
You're talking to a national rep.
and you hope that your efforts and your proceeds go to actually,
The cause.
to the cause, and somebody you don't get to meet the person. We get to meet you guys. There's several recipients that we've met with and talked with, and so I like that personal touch. This is a memory that we're building right now today, and no one's ever going to take this away from us. It's an awesome experience, and they say freedom isn't free. What does that mean to you?
For my family, it cost just the activity that I do get to have with my dad being a part of that family growing up, where his back would go out on him and we would have to carry him back from the farm to lay him out on the couch, and he would be there for days, and he'd have to be on morphine, and he would refuse to take this painkiller because he didn't want to get addicted to it. And that happened because of his service, and he doesn't regret his service at all. And he's thankful to have served, and he wouldn't change it. But at the same time, it did cost something to his future, and it's a sacrifice that he was willing to make. I'm glad, because our story wouldn't be the same because of it, or if it had been any different. But, it wasn't free, but it was freely given.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. We appreciate it. And, you want to close us out with the promotion that we have going on at Wade's RV all month long, and how they can get a hold of us and stuff like that?
Yes, so like Little Wade and Colton were just talking about, if you're wanting to participate in this promotion that we're having, let's say you're not in the market for an RV. I hope you change your mind, but let's just say you're not in the market, or you just bought one from us last week. There is other ways that you can help support the Folds of Honor. So we're going to have a link below that you can click, and it'll take you directly to the Folds of Honor website, so you can help donate and support this great cause. But more importantly, if you are in the market for an RV, come to Wade's RV, because your dollars are going to be well spent. I talk a lot about being stewards. And so whenever you spend your money here, we're not going out and buying Lamborghinis. There's a lot of people that do that. We like to give back to our community. And so we're supporting causes like the Folds of Honor. We're giving back to the Rough Rider College. That rodeo is here in a couple weeks. That's going to help raise scholarship money for ag students. So we do a lot, just like with the Blue Star Mothers. And so Wade's RV is giving back. So if you want to partner with a dealership, because when you buy an RV, it's a partnership. We're not just sending you out on the road, thanks for your dollars, see you later. We're giving you a class before you leave. We're going to check up on you after you left to see how that camping trip went. If you're looking for an RV partner, you got to come to Wade's RV, because there's only one place that you can turn miles into memories. And we all know that's Wade's RV.
Wade's RV.
So thank you guys for joining us. If you like this podcast, make sure to tune in every Friday at 10 o'clock on our Facebook, YouTube channel, and all around the world, because we're on the World Wide Web, folks. Thank you, Colton, for joining us, and thank you, Little Wade, as always, for another great episode of Camping with Wade's RV. Yeah. Love those camping sounds.